Good morning. Today from the Watchman basement, wouldn't you know it, as soon as it's sunny outside, the sunroom is occupied by Malia on a conference call of her own. I'm glad to be with you, though, from the basement here at the Watchman household. If you could see behind the camera, you'd find mounds of laundry for 5 full-fledged adults that are roosting here for a while. That's the task for later in the day. But now, start of the day, a dose of good news. We read today from the prophet Ezekiel, of Ezekiel's call to service. In the 30th year, in the 4th month, on the 5th day of the month, as I was among the exiles by the river Shabar, the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. On the 5th day of the month, it was the 5th year of the exile of King Jehoiakim, the word of the Lord came to the priest Ezekiel, son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Shabar, and the hand of the Lord was on him there. But you, O mortal, hear what I say to you. Do not be rebellious, like that rebellious house. Open your mouth and eat what I give you. I looked, and a hand stretched out to me, and a written scroll was in it. He spread it before me. It had writing on the front and on the back, and written on it were the words of lamentation and mourning and woe. He said to me, O mortal, eat what is offered to you. Eat this scroll, and go, speak to the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he gave me the scroll to eat. He said to me, Mortal, eat this scroll that I give you, and fill your stomach with it. Then I ate it, and in my mouth it was sweet as honey. Here ends the reading. The promise of good news, especially in hard times, has been enfleshed in the person and ministry of Jesus of Nazareth, whose life, suffering, death, and resurrection assure us that God will be with us always. And it's been that way from the very beginning, even before the time of Jesus, through the prophets, the like of which are Ezekiel. Ezekiel, whose call we hear in a vision today, a vision coming to him with a scroll. And that scroll has 2 functions. First, it is written with all the lamentation, mourning, and woe that the people of God are experiencing in the time of Ezekiel's ministry. They've been overrun by Babylonians who are filling them with turmoil and trouble because they've strayed from God, in all honesty. And they're suffering. They're being persecuted without end. God writes these lamentations, mournings, and woe on a scroll, and he gives it to Ezekiel to eat. And Ezekiel takes all of that trouble and turmoil into his very self. And when he does so, by the power of God that he's been given to prophesy good news, the scroll ends up tasting sweet as honey as he shares back with the people of God that good news, that despite all of the persecution they're suffering today, God has not forgotten them as much as they think God has. And God will be with them to see them through these trying times. Jesus plays the role of that scroll, pun intended, in his own life as well, having indicated that he was to fulfill both the law and the prophets. Jesus embodies the law by loving God and neighbor in everything that he does. So too, he embodies the prophets by taking in all the lamentation and mourning and woe, all the betrayal and pride and sin that humanity can muster up. And taking that into himself, offers back the sweetest words that we've ever heard. Words like, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Do not be afraid. The peace be with you. And lo, I am with you to the end of the age. If you have a little time today, I might encourage you to take a scroll, if you will, and write some of your lamentations, mournings, and woe, some of your confessions, if you like, and then roll that up, dispose of it if you will, but find a piece of candy, find something sweet as honey to remind you that despite all of the trouble that's rolled up on that scroll, you have a God that will see you through that and everything else. This coronavirus pandemic, not the least. It's causing great woe around the world. The stories coming out of New York City right now are just heartbreaking, as they are from Italy and Spain and so many other places. Continue to pray for those medical workers here in our own midst and around the world. Pray for those who are stricken by the illness, and to stand strong with them, that indeed God is with us, taking in even this difficult time and will see us through. Jesus is our assurance of that, especially, even and especially, amidst bad times. Be safe, be well. A couple of announcements in the life of the community. First of all, after the governor's order on Monday, the church building is closed, so we are performing all of our functions remotely. All staff are still on board and ready to serve and be in ministry with you. We're just not doing so at the church. That is going to be the case for worship as well. We will conduct worship again this weekend, but with all worship leaders zooming in from their own homes. We are simplifying a little bit after we learned last week the crush of Sunday morning on YouTube doesn't seem to be the place to go live. So you're getting a mailing today. We're going to go live at 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, again through a Zoom webinar. You will need a Zoom account, not really account, but some Zoom software in order to run that on your computer or iPad or telephone. If you send me an email at steve.watchman@engagebygrace.org, I'd be glad to walk you through that process. We will record that service then and post it on YouTube, encouraging folks to watch at 8:30 or at 10:30. And at the beginning of all three of those events, 4 o'clock Saturday, 8:30 on Sunday morning, 10:30 on Sunday morning, we're going to have the messaging or comment function of Zoom on Saturday and YouTube on Sunday open and available through Josh's Prelude at the start of the service, where you might send greetings and prayer requests to connect with your brothers and sisters of Christ that are worshiping with you from their own homes, but at that same time. I am pleased to share with you that we're not aware anyway of any additional prayer requests today. Watch the newsletter as it comes out for a reminder of all the others. If there are any that we're not aware, please do make sure to let us know. I believe that's all for today. Be safe, be well. We'll talk to you again.